Hi, good evening. My name is Matt Metcalf, and tonight I'd like to share with you a little bit about the history of the United States government and the military structure. I'm going to talk in brief detail about the 5 different branches and the primary responsibilities that each holds. A famous Chinese military strategist once said, "Confront them with annihilation and they will then survive. Plunge them into a deadly situation and then they will then live. When people fall into a danger, they are then able to strive for victory." That was written by Sun Tzu in approximately 700 BC. He was a Chinese military leader who, in today's military operations, they still follow some of the practices that he wrote. In 1941, the United States government realized that the condition of its defense system leading into World War II showed numerous deficiencies in its structure and had inadequate inter-service coordination. They realized that they had poor intelligence and that the structure was lacking. So in 1947, the government passed the National Security Act. And this act reevaluated the way the United States military operated. They reevaluated the structure, and they added a Joint Chief of Staff, and they had a command system. The 5 different branches consist of the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, the Navy, and the Coast Guard. The Army is the main ground force unit of the United States. Its functions include tanks, artillery, ground support for all of the branches. It's the largest branch, making up 76,000 officers and 401,000 enlisted personnel. The Army is supported by 2 reserve units: the Army Reserves and the National Guard, which is state-operated and state-owned. And each state has its own National Guard, which can protect the security of each individual state. But if a national war breaks out, the federal government can supersede and call the state departments in to become the Army. And that's why you always hear the Army of One, because they can bring multiple Army battalions and units together as one. The second branch is the Air Force. The Air Force is the youngest branch, and it was established in 1947 under the National Security Act. Prior to 1947, the Air Force fell into the Army. They were known as the Army Corps of Air. Its primary mission then was to support the ground troops by dropping off supplies and transporting personnel when need be. However, World War II proved that there could be more potential than simple ground support. Its primary mission now is to defend the United States and its interest through the exploitation of air and space. The Air Force also operates Air Force One and Air Force Two, which transports the President and higher officials in the United States government. The Air Force also is in charge of the nuclear missile systems that we have in the United States. It consists of 6,000 to 9,000 officers and 288,000 enlisted personnel, approximately. The third branch of the military is the Navy. The Navy was also established in 1775, just like the Army. The primary mission of the Navy is to keep our seas protected and to serve the interests of the United States government. Navy ships today can deploy anywhere, nearly anywhere in the world, and their primary missions include air support and heavy gun support for close shore missions. Another mission of the Navy is to transport Marines to wherever their locations need to be. The final thing that the Navy does is they have the submarines with ballistic and intelligent equipment on board. The Navy is made up of 54,000 officers and 324,000 enlisted personnel. The Navy also has reserve units but unlike the Army and the Air Force, it does not have a National Guard. The fourth branch that I'd like to speak about is the Marine Corps, often referred to as infantry of the Navy. The Marine Corps specializes in amphibious operations. In other words, their primary mission is to assault, capture, and control beachheads, and begin an invasion on land during conflicts. The Marines were officially established on November 10, 1775, to act as a landing force for the Navy. However, in 1798, Congress established the Marine Corps as a separate branch of its entity. They have many names known throughout the world, but one that most people have heard is Devil Dogs. The term Devil Dog is from World War I, when a diary was found from a German troop, and it translated into Devil Dog. And the Marines then were known as the Dogs of the Devil, because they were ruthless. They seemed to have no fear, and their spirit was high no matter what. The Marine Corps currently has its own air support and can function primarily on its own, but the only thing that it lacks is medical personnel and nurses and medical. With the exemption of the newly added Coast Guard, it's the smallest branch, making up of 18,000 officers and 153,000 enlisted personnel. The final branch is the Coast Guard. It was established as the Revenue Cutter Service in 1796. It was reformed to the Department of Transportation in 1967. And once again, it was transformed to the Department of Homeland Security in 2002 because of the attacks that happened on September 11th. During peacetime, the Coast Guard operates as police. They have police operations, boating safety, sea rescues, and illegal immigration control. In a wartime situation, the Coast Guard can be transferred fully or partially into the Navy, as they were trained on the same type of equipment and the same training. The Coast Guard consists of 7,000 officers and 20,000 enlisted. So tonight I spoke briefly about the 5 different branches the United States military has, why we have them, why they were each established separately instead of one entity, the individual responsibilities of each, and how they all have separate missions, but how they all work together to keep the United States free.